Welcome to Life Unpacked, a weekly podcast designed to help listeners navigate everyday challenges with purpose and clarity. By exploring life experiences through honest conversations and practical insights, the show aims to foster personal growth, encourage new perspectives, and empower listeners to live with greater confidence, balance, and meaning. In Genesis, the Garden of Eden was sustained by a single river that parted into four heads, each carrying a distinct blessing. Today, we are exploring what it means to be a spiritual Garden of Eden right where you are. So, let the waters flow, open your heart, and let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're taking a serious look at a message from Life International in Durban, South Africa.
And honestly, regardless of where you stand on faith or theology, the psychological framework the speaker builds here is, well, it's incredibly compelling.
It is. It's entirely focused on this one concept of positioning.
Yes.
Right. And he frames this not as a lecture, but as a prophetic word. For those listening who might not be familiar with that terminology, he's basically saying, I didn't just study this in a library.
Right. It's more like, I woke up this morning with a specific urgent download to release right now.
Exactly. It sets this tone of immediacy.
It really does. He's not talking about ancient history for the sake of history. He's using an ancient text, the story of the Garden of Eden,
From Genesis, yeah.
to describe a shift he believes is happening right now.
And the core map for this shift is the four rivers of Eden: Pishon, Gihon, Hiddekel, and Euphrates.
Okay, and I'll admit, when you hear four rivers, you immediately think.
Geography lesson.
Exactly. You're looking for coordinates on a map in the Middle East somewhere.
And that is exactly what he isn't doing. He explicitly pivots away from the physical location.
His whole argument is that these rivers represent spiritual positions, or maybe stages of maturity. He believes God is shifting the listener into a specific flow.
A flow of abundance and purpose. And he's so personal about it, too. He keeps saying, I feel like I'm positioned there.
Yeah, that he feels things are suddenly starting to break through for him. You can feel the energy.
It's infectious.
And that's really the mission of this deep dive, right? To unpack what that breakthrough actually looks like.
Yeah, because he's claiming that if you get these rivers, you get how to move from scarcity to legacy.
But you can't get to the water without talking about the source.
The garden itself, you're right. If you get the garden wrong, the rivers just don't matter.
It's the whole foundation.
So the speaker starts with a pretty radical premise about Genesis. He calls it the Book of Beginnings, which is standard.
Sure.
But then he says if you ignore it, you rob yourself of understanding your origin. And then he drops this idea: you aren't looking for Eden, you are Eden.
And that's the heavy lifting right at the start. He quotes 1 Corinthians 3:9, you are God's garden.
Right.
He's shifting the whole location of Eden from a place on a map to a spiritual reality inside the human person.
I mean, that's a massive reframing. Because if I'm the garden, then the rivers aren't something I go visit on vacation.
Yeah.
There's something that has to come out of me.
Precisely. And he explains how that works through the concept of thought. This part of the source material is just fascinating to me.
Oh, me too.
He argues that creation itself started with a thought in the mind of God.
And he flips it too. He says death was also introduced by a thought process.
Right. And he creates this incredible dichotomy between eating and thinking. He actually says what you eat won't kill you. What you think will kill you.
Which obviously he's speaking spiritually. Please don't go eat poison.
Yes, big disclaimer there. But his point is about what you metabolize internally. He quotes the proverb, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
It's such a powerful point. We obsess over our physical diets, keto, gluten-free, whatever, but we let our minds just snack on toxicity all day.
Exactly. So the logic here is, 1, you are the garden. 2, the way you cultivate that garden is through your thought life. And 3, if you accept the thought that you are God's garden,
then flow is inevitable.
It has to be. He references John 7:38, saying that out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water.
Yeah.
So if you identify as the source, the water has to move.
And that brings us to the four rivers.
The 4 stages of that flow.
Okay, let's get into the currents. The first river is Pishon.
Pishon. And the speaker breaks down the name. He says it implies increase or full flowing.
He jokes about it, too. He said he used to mispronounce it as dishing or pushing as a kid.
But the meaning increased. That's what stuck with him.
And the implication he draws from that is it's immediately a challenge to a poverty mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If the very first river, the starting point is increase, It suggests God is not a God of scarcity. The first position is abundance.
Okay, but we need to clarify what he means by abundance, because it's so easy to jump straight to materialism. Is this just about getting rich?
That's a crucial distinction, and he makes it. He actually jokes, I'm not talking about my stomach increasing.
Which, thank goodness, we do not want that kind of Pishon.
No, we do not.
Yeah.
He frames it as grace for grace. It's a state of internal fullness. It's the spiritual water level rising in your life.
So you're not operating out of a deficit.
Exactly. You know that feeling when you're just drained?
Yeah.
Emotionally, spiritually, just empty.
Oh, completely. Running on fumes, trying to help people, but you're just cranky because you have nothing left to give.
Pishon is the antithesis of that. It's the state of being full flow. It's having your capacity met.
And the speaker is so intense here. He says, I feel like I'm already there. He's just declaring it.
That the season of dryness is over.
It's interesting that this is the first river, because in a lot of, self-help or even some religious ideas, being full is the end goal.
Or it's seen as selfish.
Right. But here, it's just step one.
And that's the brilliance of the progression. You can't pour from an empty cup. Pishon is about establishing the reservoir.
If you skip Pishon, you have nothing to give.
But, and he's very clear, if you stop at Pishon, you've missed the entire point of the ecosystem.
Because a reservoir that never releases water just becomes a swamp.
Stagnant.
Right.
All right. And that leads us directly to the second river, Gihon. And this one he defines as bursting forth or gushing. And you can feel the dynamic change, can't you? Pishon is about containment, being full to the brim. Gihon is about breaching that containment.
He uses that visual analogy that I thought was perfect, the cup of tea.
So simple, but so effective.
So you imagine a cup of tea on a saucer. Pishon is the cup filled right to the rim. It's perfect, stable.
Contained, yes.
But Gihon is when you keep pouring and the tea spills over the rim into the saucer onto the table. It makes a mess.
And he leans right into that mess. He says, Pishon is fine. That's God filling you up. But Gihon reveals that the overflow isn't for the cup.
The cup is already wet.
The overflow is for the saucer. It's for the environment around you.
Yeah, it says when you burst your banks, people around you get wet with the blessing.
It's effortless impact. You're not trying to splash them. You're just so full you can't contain it.
He actually says, it means you won't be able to contain it by yourself. And then he had that funny line.
Oh, you're not spitting on them.
Yes, which is a relief.
It is.
It distinguishes overflow from force. You're not forcing your intensity on people. You're just emanating it.
And the speaker makes a really astute observation here. He asks, why did God separate the rivers? Why not just one big one?
Right. Why the distinction?
He argues that God separates Gihon to show that moving from personal fullness to blessing others is a deliberate progression. It's a shift.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to let go of the neatness of Pishon.
To embrace the messiness of Gihon. I love that. The messiness of generosity.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have increase, which is Pishon. I'm full. We have overflow, which is Gihon. I'm blessing others. In many stories, that would be the peak, right?
That would be the end of the story.
You're rich in spirit. You're generous. What could possibly be missing?
Direction.
Direction.
As the speaker points out, you can have all the resources, all the energy, all the overflow. But if you're just spilling out randomly, you're just a puddle.
You're not a river. You're just making everything wet without going anywhere.
And that brings us to river number 3, Hiddekel.
Which most people know as the Tigris.
Hiddekel. And the imagery shifts dramatically here. We move from water to a weapon analogy.
An arrow.
An arrow in flight.
And he's specific about that. Not an arrow in the quiver.
No, an arrow that has already been released.
He talks about the bowman. He admits the word sounded a little funny to him, like bunny.
Which is just a great human moment.
It is. But he Googled it. A bowman. An archer. And in this metaphor, God is the bowman.
And this is so crucial. If you are the arrow and God is the bowman, 2 things are implied. First, you are in motion. You've left the quiver.
You're active.
Second, you have a specific target.
Purpose.
That's it. Hiddekel is the river of strategic direction.
The speaker connects this to a warning about being double-minded, which makes so much sense. If an arrow tries to go in 2 directions at once, it just snaps.
Or falls flat. He uses the word deliberate. That word came up again and again. I feel God is so deliberate about me.
That's a powerful sentiment. It moves you from that ambiguous state of what should I do with my life to the feeling of being in flight. He says, I can see myself in the flight. I'm so confident that I'm going to reach a specific target because he shot me.
Because he shot me.
Mm-hmm.
That line it really resonated. Think about the pressure that takes off of you.
How so?
Well, if you're the arrow, you don't have to generate the momentum. You don't even have to aim. Your only job is to stay straight.
To not let the wind or rain knock you off course.
Exactly. He mentions the gale force winds not being able to deter the arrow. It implies that once you have this helical positioning, this purpose, distractions just lose their power.
You're moving too fast toward a target they can't even see.
It's the move from just having stuff and sharing stuff to having a specific trajectory, a mission.
I do have to mention, he grounds all this high-flying metaphor with a bit of local humor.
Oh, the Johannesburg comment?
Yes. He's talking about purpose and moving on a path, and he uses the example of moving to Johannesburg.
And he immediately has to clarify he is not recommending that.
He calls it a branch of hell.
And says Durban is heaven.
Which, preaching in Durban, that probably played very well.
I'm sure it did. But it serves a function. It reminds you that he's still a guy who just really prefers the coast. It makes him accessible.
It really does. Okay, so Pishon is increase, Gihon is overflow, Hiddekel is purpose, which brings us to the final river, the culmination.
The Euphrates.
And the meaning here is beautiful. He defines it as sweetness or fruitfulness.
Fruitfulness.
And he explains it's the natural result of the other three. If you have increase and overflow and directed purpose.
The result is sweetness. The result is fruit.
And just like with Gihon, the overflow, he emphasizes who this fruit is for.
Right. Sweetness is never for your own enjoyment, it's for others. A tree doesn't eat its own fruit.
An apple tree doesn't munch on apple.
The fruit is grown to be consumed by the world.
So this whole journey, it starts with I am the garden, goes through getting filled up, spilling over, flying straight, and finally producing something that feeds other people.
It's a complete ecosystem of spiritual maturity. You start with identity and you end with legacy.
It's amazing how it all connects. If you have fruitfulness without purpose, you're just growing berries no one can find.
Right. And if you have purpose without overflow, you're just an arrow hitting a target that doesn't help anyone.
Yeah.
It requires all four.
So let's pull this all together. What is the big takeaway for our listener?
I think the synthesis is that word, positioning. The speaker isn't telling you to do more tasks. He's telling you to recognize where you're standing spiritually. God is positioning you to move from increase to overflow to purpose and finally to fruitfulness.
And his core message is that this is for now. He kept saying, I feel I am there. But he also said, if you don't feel like you're already there, then I'm telling you you're about to walk into that place.
That's the invitation, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's inviting you to step into that same confidence. It's an active expectation.
Don't just learn about the rivers.
Recognize that you are the garden, and these rivers are meant to flow out of you. If you're feeling dry, the map says Pishon is available. If you're aimless, Hiddekel is next.
It transforms it from a history lesson into a personal mandate. You are the garden.
And if you're the garden, the flow isn't just possible, it's inevitable.
I want to leave our listeners with one thought to mull over from that Hiddekel section. The arrow in flight.
Yes.
If you are an arrow in flight and God is the bowman, what is the specific target God has aimed you at right now? Not 5 years ago, not 10 years from now. Right now.
Are you flying straight or are you fighting the wind?
That is the question.
And trusting that if he shot you, he aimed you well.
Truly powerful stuff from the team at Life International in Durban. We really appreciate the depth of this source material.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating look at how ancient texts are applied to modern spiritual life.
Well, that is all we have time for today. We hope this deep dive gave you some increase, maybe a little overflow. Until next time, goodbye and have a great week.
As we close out today's episode, take a moment to picture the landscape we discussed. You aren't meant to live in a spiritual drought. You are positioned for a season where increase, overflow, purpose, and fruitfulness flow out of your life to refresh the world. Which river do you need to tap into today? Do you need the direction of Hiddekel or the sweet abundance of Euphrates? Carry these blessings with you this week, and remember to be the conduit for someone else's breakthrough. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and join us next time as we continue to journey together. Until then, keep flowing and stay blessed.